Hey guys, today we are going to react to this video about the recent Oracle layoffs.
It's official. Oracle will be firing thousands and thousands of employees due to AI. But it's not due to automation and AI necessarily, but more about cash. And this is a really important distinction to understand as we move into this AI age, and we're going to cover that in today's video. Now, again, this move really shouldn't be much of a surprise.
Yes, some people say that they fired about 30,000 employees. Some people say it's closer to 50,000 employees. It's simply a ton of employees. So the the specific number has not been disclosed, but yeah, it's a lot of employees.
I mean, if you've been subscribed to the channel, you would know that we covered Oracle's plans just about a month ago. But now that it's being reinforced and confirmed and corroborated by Reuters, Bloomberg, and other major publications, I think it's worth going a little bit deeper into because we have more information. So let's look at it. Why is this happening? Why is Oracle laying off all these people? How does AI play into it? Who is going to be impacted? And what does this really mean for us as men that want to remain relevant, respected, and financially free? Let's face it, if you're not relevant, you don't have the necessary skills, you're not going to be able to generate cash. If you're not able to make money, you're not going to be respected by women, by other dudes, you're not going to get the respect. And let's face it, if you don't have relevancy, if you don't have respect, you're not going to be financially free. And I don't want that for me. I definitely don't want that for you.
It's the first time that I watch one of these guys' videos. I don't know if he's one of those alpha male coaches or something like that. I will focus on his thoughts about the layoffs and the AI and Oracle, not so much about the alpha males or whatever.
So understanding what's happening in the market, that's what, guys, that's what this channel is about. How do we remain relevant, respected, and financially free in a world that's being flipped on its head due to AI? Well, today we're going to get into that a little bit more. So, Oracle's going to be laying off thousands of people due to AI. So Oracle is an enterprise software company, but recently they've been putting a lot more focus into infrastructure and cloud computing. And this was highlighted by a deal that they made with OpenAI, the creators of ChatGPT. They made a deal with them for $300 billion. Small deal, right?
Light work. Ton of money.
But as we also covered in that video about a month ago, investors are starting to get worried. They're worried, how is Oracle going to actually fund all these commitments, all these data center expansions? Like, not only do they have a deal with OpenAI, they also have a deal with xAI, Elon's company, and Meta. So Oracle has got like these huge deals. And the reality is that, investors are starting to get worried. In December, Oracle announced that its CapEx spending would be closer to $50 billion.
Wow.
Which is $15 billion higher than their initial projections. They were basically initially expecting to spend $35 billion on all this infrastructure. Now they're saying, well, it's actually going to be $50 billion. Okay, and where does this money come from? It's not like, you can't just ask friends and family. You can't do a GoFundMe for $15 billion. Where does this money come from? Well, historically, money like this comes from banks. Banks will lend you cash, you pay them back when, with interest, etc. The problem here for Oracle is that the banks are starting to question the return on investment from these AI investments. They're basically saying, we're not sure we're going to get that money back. And in fact, they've nearly doubled the interest rates they charge for Oracle's data center financing. So not good news for Oracle, which is also interesting because the Fed has lowered interest rates 3 times in a row and probably will continue, we'll see. So while the Fed is lowering interest rates, banks are increasing the interest rates substantially for Oracle to build out these data centers. They're starting to, and we've covered this a few times, guys. People are starting to question, like, there's hundreds of billions of dollars going to this new experimental, unknown, unpredictable technology. Are we going to be able to get our money back on these investments?
Yes, and it is a fair concern because, for example, recently, I don't know if you guys have heard about this, OpenAI recently closed its video generation tool. I don't remember if it was Sora or if it was a different name. Whatever. The point is that they recently deleted or closed the access, the open to the public access to that tool. Apparently, it's because it's not very profitable. They are going to go public, so they don't want potential investors to see that they are burning so much cash. So it's understandable that now banks are thinking, well, is this AI bet worth it? Are we going to get our money back? Do you are you actually going to are we actually going to get a good return on investment for our money? We are many are starting to wonder if that's actually going to be the case.
The banks are starting to slow down. And this creates a massive problem for Oracle. Oracle's going into expansion mode. They're landing all these big deals. They want to build out all this infrastructure. And now the banks,
Yes, they are essentially reallocating money. They need a ton of cash to build these AI data centers. So they are firing a ton of people to fund those AI data centers.
are kind of holding their feet to the fire. So what does Oracle do? Where do they get the cash? Layoffs.
Layoffs.
They're going to get the cash from layoffs. They want to build out all this AI infrastructure. They need the cash. They need layoffs. And it's estimated that if they were to go through with laying off 30,000 employees, that would free up about $10 billion.
This video is a little old. I believe it is like 5 days old. Oracle has already laid off a ton of people. This is not going to happen. This is not going to happen. It already happened. They fired a ton of people everywhere. I don't know why there are some videos on the web saying that they fired a ton of Americans, they fired a ton of USA people. No, they fired people everywhere, not just in the US, but in every country. India, Mexico, the United States, everywhere. It's not just in one place, it's everywhere. It's not like what some people like to believe, that they are firing people in the US and hiring people overseas. They are just firing people to build infrastructure.
In cash. That goes a long way to fulfilling these obligations and these goals. Now, these layoffs would be expected to impact many different divisions across the organization. This is not just like all the Karens from HR, you're out. This is gonna be pretty wide swath. And certainly some of the jobs that are gonna be seen as expendable are gonna be some of the traditional jobs that we've seen that are gonna be replaceable by AI. Again, AI plays another part here. AI, guys.
Yes, it's not just HR people or any other of those soft skills jobs. It's software engineers, developers, mobile developers, database developers. It's everywhere.
I don't know what to tell you. AI plays a part, it's just playing a part in everything these days. And what we see when we look at positions that are on their high risk for AI, we're looking at basically anyone that's on a computer. Customer service, we've seen a lot of firings over customer service. Sales, marketing, that's kind of the world that I live in. HR, administrative work, all that bloat, that bloat is getting.
Yes, I don't know why he keeps focusing on those bloat work jobs. I don't know how to call them. It's not like that. Maybe he says that because it has not happened in his video, because again, this video is a little old. It's not just HR jobs or any of those. I don't know how to call them. Any of those any of those jobs. It's also software developers, mobile developers, everywhere.
It's getting gutted out, it's getting cleared out. And the reality is that companies are just kind of putting pressure on people saying, hey, here's some AI tools. We expect you to be able to get more done. And the reality here, guys, is it's definitely possible. I was talking, and I've talked about this a couple times this week, I was talking to the CTO of our company, recently. He's a software engineer, brilliant dude. He said, Mark, I don't even write code anymore. I use Claude to write code for me. And then I just focus on the I focus on the high-end stuff. I focus on the higher level learning. And he actually said to me, Mark, it's actually kind of exhausting because writing code is easy. I could sit there and write code, no problem. It's kind of a way for me to give my brain a break. Well, now I've got to focus on the higher level stuff. And so it's just a little bit more, it's just a different world that we live in. But the reality is he's able to get a lot more done in a lot less time because of these AI tools. And again, we're seeing that manifest across every organization. I talked about this yesterday. And
I don't know, guys. Many people are saying that Claude is doing all the coding for them, this new thing, this new vibe coding. But if you take a look at many videos on the web, they are telling you that yes, Claude and any of these AI tools can help you with simple stuff, maybe coding a web page or something very simple, but for some serious work, like building real apps with real use case scenarios where you have to deal with sensitive data, you can't just use Claude. You have to get real engineers. So yes, it is a different world, but it's not like AI can replace engineers or everything.
I'll go into a little bit more about this later, but if you're not experimenting with AI, if you work on a computer and you're not experimenting with AI, if you're not testing new things constantly, if you're not trying to find ways to add AI into your data analysis, into writing copy, into building out campaigns, if you're not using it to do that grunt work, building out funnels, then the reality is that you're falling behind. There are people that are doing that. And that's what I'm really focused on right now, both personally and in the conversations that I'm having. Anyway, regardless, who's going to be on the hook? The people that are exposed to AI and that Oracle is going to perceive as being able to replace with AI. Notice that word perceive. Hold that thought. We'll get back to that in just a moment. So last year we saw about 10,000 job cuts at Oracle, and we should have a definitive number here very soon for what Oracle's going to do. If I had to estimate based on the research.
Yes, it's not definitive because as far as I know, Oracle didn't release the exact number. They usually don't, but it's between 30,000 to 50,000.
Going to be somewhere between 20 to 30,000 people. Huge, huge swath of people. They're going to be on the unemployment line. Also worth noting, Oracle has their third quarter financial results coming up in just a few days. And by the way, 30,000 people is a lot of people, for sure. A. But B, as we covered in our video yesterday, a lot of companies have slowed down their hiring right now. The layoffs kind of slowed up in February, but also the hirings froze up. People are just not hiring as quickly now. Again, AI changes the math on a lot of this stuff. Just in that conversation I had with the CTO yesterday, a couple days ago, he had mentioned that, well, Mark, the stuff that I thought I was going to be hiring for is not the stuff that I'm actually going to be hiring for because AI can serve that role now. And we've got a lot of Indian viewers that watch the channel, and the reality is that for guys here in the States, we would traditionally go to VAs in India, in the Philippines to serve these roles like, hey, build me out this landing page, write me out these emails, manage these social posts, do all this, edit these videos, do this stuff. A lot of that stuff can be done with AI right now. I was running a podcast production agency the last several years, and it was fine. Didn't blow up or anything, but it was fine. It paid bills. But what I found was that the price point that I had didn't work because programs like Opus Clips and Riverside were able to do.
By the way, these are very nice houses with expensive cars. This is a BMW. Where does he live? He must be decently wealthy.
Well, Cast Magic. These softwares, these AI softwares, were able to edit. They were able to make clips. They were able to generate captions and write blogs and write social. It was able to do all this work that we were being paid to do. And so what my clients were saying is like, well, why am I going to pay Mark's agency $15,000 to $25,000 a month when the AI can do it for a couple hundred, and then I can hire maybe someone to fill in the blanks, fill in the gaps, right? It's coming for all of us. It fundamentally transforms everything that we do, okay? Yeah. So in any event, a couple key takeaways here that I think are really important for us to understand. So the first of which here is that there is so much money being invested into AI software and into infrastructure. And as we see from a bunch of big companies, including Oracle, Oracle is saying, we were going to spend 35 billion. It's actually going to be 50 billion. These numbers are huge.
50 billion.
These are huge numbers,
15
guys.
billion difference.
And companies are going to need to free up cash. They are just going to need to do it. They're going to need to free up cash. And the people that know how to leverage AI and are more efficient are going to be much safer in their positions. And I want to add this word in here, more efficient, or at least to be perceived as more efficient. If you're using tools, if you're using AI, you're going to be perceived as more efficient, A, and B, you have a lot more upside. If you're the kind of guy who's like, I don't like AI, I'm not going to use it, your organizations are going to say like, well, how are you going to actually grow in this new world? Again, there's so much money being poured into this technology. If you refuse to use it, like where does your value lie? You're not actually growing. You're like Metallica yelling at Napster for streaming music. Do you guys remember back in the day when if you really wanted to listen to a song, you had to record, you had to have a tape recorder set up in your room, and then the second that song came on the radio, you hit record and you'd miss like the first seconds. I remember that. That's gone now, guys. The market has changed. The AI is going to do the same thing at a larger scale across every organization. So in any event, we're kind of in this world now where we're moving past just using ChatGPT to do web search and to act as Google. We got to move past that. We have to move to the next level. There's programs that integrate AI into all the different softwares in our tech stack, and that's the way that I'm looking at it right now. How can I just integrate AI into more processes to automate more? We're moving into that. How do I offload all of my busy work into these AI softwares so I can be more effective? That is where we want to be. That's what we need to be thinking about, because as all this money gets poured into AI, into this data center infrastructure, the big question is going to be, who are the guys that are able to capitalize on the opportunity? And that's going to be us. All right, boys, thanks for watching the video today, liking, subscribing, all that good stuff. Way to invest in you and your family. And if you like today's video, you will definitely want to see yesterday's video where we talk about Challenger and Gray's February jobs report. Very interesting what's happening there. The firings are down, but so are the hirings. It's kind of a wild time. Hirings are actually down 63% from this time last year, which is pretty staggering. So anyway, check out yesterday's video. You'll like it.
This was a good video. It was interesting. Again, it was a little old video. The video was released about 5 days ago, so he didn't have the exact numbers. The numbers are between 30 to 50,000 employees across different organizations in different countries, USA, Mexico, India, everywhere, right? So yes, he mentioned different things that are important. I liked his video. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed my video, my reaction. If you liked this video, please make sure to subscribe, leave a like. If you want to comment, that's fine as well. See you in the next one.